Okay, so am I audible clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let wait for 2 minutes more. Let's see how many joins. Then we will start. Okay, okay. So let's start. So my name is Rejoy Mukherjee, and I'll be taking this tutorial course for NPTEL build lectures on programming in modern C++. So I'm a research scholar at the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, IIT Kharagpur. So in this session, we will be discussing the content of course content related to week 4, and the will be solving some basic questions which are related to your assignments of or week 4, and those are the type of questions that will be asked in your end exam. So the session will be interactive. You can ask any question at a time.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, in final exam, is there any questions from programming assignments?
Yeah, there will be there.
From programming assignments also there are questions. There will be
Yeah, there
questions.
will be questions. If you if the programming if you check the programming assignments, those are basically fill in the blanks. So it can be asked.
And sir, there will be questions from tutorials also.
I mean, these are kind of the questions that are asked in the assignments. So these are the similar kind of questions that can be asked. There is nothing much of a difference. So
So sir, both quiz assignment and programming assignment, from both of them there will be questions in final
yeah,
exam.
yeah. So
Okay.
okay, so please feel free to ask any question whenever you want to. Let's start the session for today. So we'll be doing week 4 courses, like the things that are taught in week 4. So the things that are taught in week 4, let's recap once. So one was,
Sir, recap of week 3 has been done.
yes, last week was done.
Okay.
So if you have missed, you can check the like videos that are available on YouTube. So if you go to the
Sir, where can I get
so if
the
you
recordings of
so
previous sessions?
so if you go to the NPTEL website for this course, you will see that there are option at the end, like recorded videos or something. So there you can find it.
Okay, sir.
So so for week 4, the things that were taught was static static versus non-static. The things, so if you recall correctly, the static member functions or static data variables of a class are defined only once, and for each object, and those are shared by all objects of that class, and that was one of
Hello.
I.
Sir, static concept is different for normal variables and different from
I will come. I will come. Okay, okay. So
for class variables it is different, for normal variables it is different.
okay, I will come to that. Okay, just wait.
Okay.
When we will be solving the problems, you will understand. Okay, so just let me just continue. Other than that, also we discussed things like um friend function, or friend class. So we saw what happens when we declare a function or a class as friend. So it completely breaks the encapsulation of a class. Like one class can access the one friend class can access the or like private members of other class. So we have seen that. Other than that, we went into much details of uh, we went into much details of operator overloading. So we saw how we can use not only global functions and member functions, but also using friend functions, how we can solve these operator overloading mechanisms. And we also saw the concept of namespace and how polymorphism exists with namespace. So, like the next few slides, we will be discussing the problems regarding this, and accordingly, we will come to understand how this all will was can be applied in programs. So let's start with first question. So this is a question like this is a program which you have been given, right? So you have to say what will be the output or the error of it, right? So if you let's look at the question once. So it is using a namespace aesthetic common. So there is a class which is called my class, and it has a static static data member int s. Then it has a constructor. It has data member functions increment, and another is another member function print. Now, what is this? This is declaration. Now you know that static member functions, static data members have to be defined outside the class. So this is one of the like nomenclature, you can say that it is one of the rules that the you can declare the member data member inside static data member inside, but the member functions like the definition has to be done outside. And let's also like if you remember how static members work. So
Hello.
yes.
Sir, we cannot initialize static data member at the time of declaration only. Like static, we can write as static int s equal to 10.
No, you cannot do that.
Why, sir?
So that is the thing, right? So let me tell you why.
So, sir, for static variables, only we use scope resolution operator to
Let me let me
initialize them.
let me let me say. Okay, let me come.
Okay.
So 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 every class, suppose here is O1 and O2. So the class my class has two objects, O1 and O2. And suppose there are some other uh, variables int
Thir-
s1 s2.
30 will be the answer.
Let's discuss it. So say let's have some more data members like s1 s2. So when I create o1, it creates its own s1 and s2. Similarly, in the memory for o2, its own copy of s1 and s2 is created. But for s, which is a static like data member, only one copy is maintained in the memory. Only one copy. Wait 1 minute. Okay, you can access it here in the Jam. So if you see that this the S will have only one copy in the memory, whereas S1 and S2 will have different copies for each object. So the concept is that this S1 can be accessed in a shared way, but by this S can be accessed in a shared way by both O1 and O2. So as a result, the concept it has to be defined outside of the class. It always has to be defined outside of the class using this scope resolution operator. So this is the like rule that each object cannot. So basically the thing is, when you have to initialize s1 and s2, what it happens, it object o1 or o2 will initialize it, but this s, since it is shared, it will not be initialized by any object. It will be initialized only once for each class. So
Hello.
it will be defined only once. Say
Sir, is, data member S is private.
yes.
So how can we accessing it outside the class?
It we are
Private
see
members
see
are
see see
not
see.
accessible outside the class.
Yes, the thing is, it is a so 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 you have seen how we access members of a class. Say that how we access member of a class.
Sir, we access members of a class through object
We object, right?
and through member functions.
Member functions are I'm not saying, I'm saying members. It can be data member or a member functions.
Yes, sir, of through objects.
Objects. Okay. Are we accessing it through any object?
No, but sir, we are not accessing it with
We are
any
not
object.
accessing it. We are not
But
doing it. We have to define it. The thing is, the rule is we have to define it, irrespective of it thing. So now, suppose you want to
hello,
access. Let me.
I want to know the real meaning behind that, sir. We are accessing it
We are not
without any.
accessing it. See, we are not accessing it. We are. So suppose like if I say if I write a statement int s equals to my class int, suppose age, suppose I write int age. So in this main function I write my int age is equal to my class is. This will throw an error because here we are trying to access it, but this is called definition. This is
So,
called
sir,
definition.
for
So suppose
sir,
1 minute,
so
1 minute.
sir, for initializing as we are accessing first and
No,
then
no, 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 no,
initializing
no.
them.
It is not initialization. It is definition. That is the one mistake that you are making.
Sir, definition is available in the class itself, like
No, no,
static
no.
int s. It
That
is
is
the
declaration.
definition.
That is declaration. There is two different things. One is definition and another is declaration. I'm telling you. Okay. So suppose we have a class like test. Suppose we have a class test, and I have this int uh, suppose place, and suppose int, so not int, let's say void calculate. Okay, So what is this? Declaration, and this is declaration. Now I have to define it, right? I'm not defining it inside it. So this part of the code can be present in, suppose, source.h. I'm just declaring it, I'm not defining it. So now if I go to source.c, what I have to do, I have to define it. So how we will define? Test
Hello.
void
Hello.
test. Yeah, say.
Sir, this concept I know that if any data member and any member function is not defined inside a class, we can define them outside the class using scope resolution operator.
Yes.
Sir, but my point is that uh, the for static variable.
Static is also same. It is you consider it as a.
Sir, but for member functions we can define them inside the class also. So why not static member be initialized inside the class and defined
It
inside the
cannot be
class?
initialized. That is the concept, because you have to define it outside. You cannot define it inside.
Sir, but for member functions we can define it
Member
inside
function
also.
you can define it outside, but this is the concept that has been created. The one reason is that it is only one copy is maintained for that.
Okay. So sir, it is the rule we have to follow
Yes,
it.
it is the rule. That is the rule. Like, it is a definition that has always been prevalent there.
That static members को हम declare करें in class के अंदर और
You have to
उनको.
define that them outside.
Okay, okay.
So
This is the rule.
yeah. So in this program, if you see, it will throw an error. The reason is we are trying to initialize it via a constructor, which is not allowed. See, we are trying to initialize it via a constructor. That is not allowed. So this will throw a error. You cannot, like, using an object, you cannot initialize it. It has to be initialized. Okay, that is not the only way you can initialize it. Another way you can do it is static member function, right? That's way also you can initialize it. That is the other way.
Sir, static members cannot be initialized by member functions also then.
No,
Because
I am saying that if you want to change it, like here, suppose you need to, like, update it, that thing you can do it using this. That thing you can do using static member functions.
no sir, I am asking can non-static member function can change the static member function, initialize the static member function?
No.
No, no sir, because static non-static member functions are also invoked by using objects.
Yes.
That's why.
See, here the only problem is this. Okay, this statement is the problem. It cannot be initialized this, but you can invoke these things.
Yes, sir. If yes, oh, sir, increment function is also initializing the static member s. So isn't it be an error?
No, it will not throw an error.
Sir, why? Because why?
We are not
Because
initializing it. We are updating it.
okay. So first time initialization
Like,
it matters.
so you forget the term initialization. You think only declaration and definition. These two things. Definition has to be done outside.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go to the next one.
But sir,
Huh?
hello.
Huh?
But sir, this is the concept that only static member function
Yes,
can
yes,
access
yes.
the static data
Yes,
member.
yes, true. So you
But
so if you have to do it, you have to give it as static.
Okay, sir. So
Okay.
that's
Sir,
why.
You have to, if you have to access that, you have to initialize it as static. Otherwise, see, the thing is, these member functions, like the concept, you will think that this member function are also shared, but it is not shared. It has its own member functions here. Like, so
sir, I am not understanding why increment function is is updating the static
it
variable
will,
as.
so it will not be able to access it if you don't give this static thing, don't declare it as static, you will not be able to like update or access it.
So sir, increment function is updating the static variable s. Isn't it a error?
So it will throw an error. I'm saying no, it has to be given as static. So void, static void increment, static void print. Then only it will be correct.
Sir, why print function has to be static? Print function is only accessing the static variable s, not in changing it.
No, that also static, because only static member functions, like only these
So
static member functions can
can
access.
access and update.
Yes, access and update and anything it can do. Only that it can do. Otherwise, it cannot do.
Okay.
So
So sir, no.
so the concept again is same. Like okay,
So
so
sir, non-static members
so if we
cannot
have
cannot
objects,
also access the members, static members.
huh?
Sir, I am asking non-static member functions cannot access
No, 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 no,
static member
no.
functions. Okay, sir.
Okay, so uh, one minute. Okay, so let's go to this one. So you have a program.
Sir, can we make constructors as static
No, no, no,
so that they can access static
no,
members?
no, 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 no.
Okay, sir.
No, that's also not allowed. See, when is constructor called? You understand when is constructor and destructor called?
Sir, when object is defined, then
Yes, but
constructor
here
called.
they don't need objects, right? For static member functions, you don't need object.
Okay, sir.
No,
So when
it cannot
object
it
goes,
cannot accept Aman. That's the reason it will throw an error.
an object goes out of scope, then destructor is called.
Okay, so let's come to this problem. So you have a class. You have two data members, x and y. You have this constructor. You have this operator overloading, and then you have this another like friend function, and you have this operator overloading via friend. So you have to find out what will be the output of this. So if you see, you have you are creating two objects, C1 and C2, and this is the cout statement. So you see they have used two operator overloading statements. Okay, so you see like let's consider this statement, cout C1 C2. Now let's break it up into two parts, this one and this one. Okay, so so which of the constructor is being called in this case? cout this C1. Which of the constructor is this called? Let's call it 1 and this is call it 2. So which one will be called in this case?
Sir, first constructor is called first, and then second constructor is called second. Second
No, no,
operator.
sorry, not constructor, sorry.
Sorry, sir.
Operator.
First operator function which have only one parameter is called first, and second operator function which has two parameters is called second.
No,
Sir, because first C1 left shift C2 is evaluated because it is a right
it is
shift
it
right.
is not about this left shift operator. This is not left shift operator. This is O stream, output stream.
Okay sir, it is a left associative, that's why second will call first.
No, 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 no. You check. What is this thing? This is O stream.
Yes sir, yes sir.
This is O stream, and this is a
Yes sir, I
point type.
understand.
Point type. So this one will be called first,
Okay
and
sir.
see what is the output of this one.
Sir,
Point.
sir, the second function is called first because the left shift operator is left associative, left to right
It is
associative.
not associativity. It is because of these things. See out. See these are two different operators in this case they are considering. Okay. See it is
Sir,
see out
sir,
see
I
in.
am asking in the C out statement there are two operators, left shift. So because of left associative, it left shift operator of left side is evaluated first. That's why.
Okay. See here my theory is it is see out statement, and there is this operator. So and there is this C1 C1 object. So basically we are calling this O stream and point type. So this one will be called first. So what will be the output in that case? So C will be C1 2 5. So 2 comma 5 will be printed, and then this one will be called. See the return type. Return type is point type. So basically uh, C is being returned. That is 2 comma 5.
Sir, D will be the answer.
Wait, let me solve. So here we which one will like C. So C will be returned, and this one will be called. So here C will be 2 comma 5, and C2 will be and C2 and this will be the object of C2. So it will be 4 comma 6, 4 comma 6 this statement, 2 comma 5, that will be 6 comma 11, 6 comma 11. So D will be the answer. Yeah, D is the correct option. So if you have any doubt, you can ask regarding this.
Hello.
So let's go to the next one.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, in second operator function, why there is not a return statement like this, return pointer this? Why it is return C?
Which one? This one?
Yes, sir. Return pointer this. This why not return?
Because it is not a it is an outside function, right? It is not inside a class, right? This is a
Okay.
friend. This doesn't belong to this class. This is a friend function. So what happened in case of a friend? So you have a class. So you have a class test int. So you have an int x. You have a public test, and you have a friend, suppose friend void opaque. So this function opaque does not belong to this class test. It is another function outside of it, and it can access the private members of this class test.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, in any class, non-friend member functions can also access private members. Friend functions can also access private members. So
Yes.
what's the difference?
No.
Sir,
Sir,
private members can accessible in non-friend member functions also. And
how?
friend member functions,
How?
sir, private member functions has a scope inside the class only.
Yeah, but this is not inside the class, right?
So, sir, we are writing it inside the class.
No,
Why?
you are just defining it inside the declaring it inside the class.
Okay, its definition is written outside using scope resolution operator.
No, it doesn't belong to the class. Why we will use the scope resolution operator?
Okay,
It is just called friend. Like
okay, okay.
it doesn't belong to the class, just outside the class. It is just a
It is
function which,
it is present in a class.
no, it is not present in a class.
So, sir, why we are writing it inside a class?
We have to say like this is a friend function to this class. We have to
Okay,
mention
okay,
it. Otherwise, how it can be done?
okay.
Okay, so friend function is clear, right? Now we will come to more of it. So let's come to this question. So we have a variable. We will come here and understand the concept of namespace. So we have a global variable v0. Then we have defined a namespace name, and there is also we have defined a variable, same variable name var, and we have also defined one variable here which is 1, and then we have defined we are said that we are using namespace name, so we are using this namespace. So what will be the output in this case? Yes, A will be the correct answer. So let's say why it will A will be the correct answer. So when we define this, use this, what does this mean? This means we are referring to the global one. So when we use scope resolution var, it has to choose the global variable. Now when we are using this, it becomes a confusion. Okay, so we have said we are using the namespace name, so we can define we can use we can access this as also var, and we can access this as also var. So here is the problem that arises. So in this case, the precedence it takes is the local one is taken. So always precedence in case of ambiguity is local variable. so 1 will be printed. And when we are doing this name colon colon var, then 2 will be printed, so it will be 0 1 2. Any doubt regarding this?
Sir, please repeat the last line once.
Yes, I'm going to, okay, I'm doing it again. So this is a global variable. This is another one with the same name, but inside the namespace name, and here is a local one. So when we refer to this colon colon operator, it always refers to the global variable. Now here is the first ambiguity arise, like for this. So we are said that we are using the namespace name, so we can directly refer this to this as var, but here is also another local var. So in this case, always the local one takes the precedence. So as a result, 1 will be printed in this case. In the global case, it will be 0. And when we are referring it like this, name colon colon var, that is the one that inside this namespace, then it will print 2. So 0 1 2 will be the answer. Now let's consider this case. Let's consider this case where uh, suppose this is not there. Suppose this is not there. So in that case, what it will be?
Sir, global variables are accessed by putting scope resolution operator in front of them.
Yes. Yeah, it will be B in that case, because this we have already you like inherited or something, you can say, using namespace name. So the concept of namespace is kind of like a class, but it is not a class. It is
Sir, why
namespace
the answer is B?
namespace is mostly used to do just define the scope of some variables. It is not a hardened like that strong of a control thing like class. Why it is two? So because this var, so if when we don't have this statement, in that case what happens? In that case, there is this ambiguity does not arise, since you are using this using namespace name. So that means when we refer to var, we are referring to this var.
Sir, sir, why not global var?
No,
Because
global variables have always has to be accessed like this.
so sir, this second variable var is not accessed using name scope resolution
No,
operator
no,
of
no.
var.
Because we have already said that we are using this namespace name. So when we define this like this,
Okay, okay.
so if you
So sir, both ways are possible.
yes, so why we use this statement using namespace std? Because inside IOStream, this thing uh, cout, cin, endel, these are all present inside the namespace std. Okay, so when we say we are using namespace std, so instead of writing always std colon colon cout, we can directly write cout, right? So that's the reason we use this thing using namespace std.
Sir, only std namespace is by default
No,
provided
no,
in
there
C++.
are many. It is not default. We are using it. If you don't use it, you will have to write the like this stdcf.
No, sir. Sir, I am asking.
No,
Uh,
there are
std
many.
namespace is
Ne-
defined in the compiler implicitly.
Yeah, it is. It is not in the compiler. It is inside this iostream thing.
Okay. In iStream, it is
An iostream header file.
defined.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, so you have this. So you have this like
Sir,
class.
one question away from today's topic. Can I ask?
Say.
Sir, in C++, we can access, we have for mathematical computations, we have library called math.h.
It is in C.
Uh, math.h.
Math.h is a C. In C++,
In
it is C math.
C math.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so you have been given a class. It has two static variables, static intx, static inty, and they have to print uh, x and y. So what will be the what do we have to set it here such that like we have already defined the variable. So what will have to be given here such that we can print it out here. So like this concept we covered last, like a static member functions has to be accessed via this, so it will be static. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, this one is also relating to namespace. So you have been given this program. We have a global x, we have a namespace e, and inside it we have another namespace e1. So this is thing called nested namespace, and then we have x. So what we have to write here such that the output will be 15. That means this get printed, this x gets printed. So what we have to use? So again, the same namespace like concept we have to use. So like to so we have seen like we have been using it as using uh, the using namespace e. This is one way we have like previous problem we have seen that using namespace e, this is one way you can access the namespace. Another way you can access it, suppose you can say using e colon x. This is another way you can directly use it. just directly you can use it. So if I give this using e colon colon x, so if you give this one here using e colon colon x, this will be get printed, so it will print 5, but uh, we need to print we need to print 15. So we need to print this one. So for doing it, we will using this concept again. We will write using e colon colon, we will go inside this one e1 colon colon x. So the correct answer is a. So like this problem shows that that this is not the only way, like this using namespace, this is not the only way to use the namespace. You can also use it using this way, just directly write the variable which you want to use.
Sir, can we use using namespace and scope resolution operator both at the same time?
So you want to use using
So means C can be right answer or not?
C. See the
Yes,
problem,
sir.
yeah. So I'm coming. So when you write this using namespace colon, so that that creates that you cannot do. The reason is uh, like it will create a confusion between this and this, right? Because this also comes under E, and the so it will be a problem to understand which one is we are trying to use.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, once again, I am not able to understand, sir, why C will not be the answer.
Like I said, right, in this thing you got it right. So it is it will create an ambiguity, like in this case, like this and this, right? So
Yes, sir.
so the local gets always the preference. So
Yes.
this will also create a same problem between this and this when you are trying to use this.
Okay, sir. The preference of x equal to 5 is higher
Yes,
than x
yes,
equal to 15.
yes. So
But we are accessing
so
the
when you
15. That's why.
when you are writing this, this also gets used, right?
Oh, sir, if we are using C as an option, then compiler will get ambiguity which one X to use.
Yes.
Okay. So, sir, it will prefer local copy
Yeah. So
like X equal to 5. So,
yes,
X equal to 5 will print if we use C
yes,
as option.
it gets can get printed.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So let's go to the next one. This is something quite interesting. So you have a class called const test. Uh, you have to something define here. Let's check what kind of data variable we can define. Let's come to it. Next, we are defining a constructor regarding it. We are also defining a set const, void const, and we are defining we are creating a const object of type const test. We are trying to set 10, we are printing and return 0. So this is a very interesting thing.
Sir, B will be the answer, mutable int.
Oh, wait. So this is a very interesting thing. Const test M5. So whenever, like, if you have like previously, in previous lectures you have seen that if we write anything, suppose cos inst k equals to 10, what happens in this case? In this case you cannot modify the value of k in the program. It will stay as it is. So suppose we define this as x. So what happens when we define this? You cannot modify this value. Like after this, after setting this cannot be done. These things cannot be done, right? So because you are trying to update it, you cannot update the value that has already been given to this value. In that case, you cannot update it. So you cannot just simply define as at int, because we are using a const. We are creating a const object of that class. So int not possible. Okay. Defining const doesn't come into question only, because uh, then comes the like situation like how to update it. Same thing. Now the only viable option. So you have come across this term mutable. What happens when you use mutable? Mutable is complete opposite of const. It can be updated anytime. So we will define this as mutable int x. What happens if when you define it as mutable int x? So it doesn't matter if you define it as const. You can always perform these things, these set and update operations regarding it. So that will not throw an error in that case. These things will be easily accessible. Like these update operations can be done.
Sir, can we access mutable x using the object m outside the class?
No, no, no.
Because it is a private, that's
It
why,
is
na?
private. And also
Oh,
A is correct, because int mutable and mutable int are same. These are basically same.
so both of these are same.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter whether you define it as inst const or const int, or int mutable or mutable int, it is same.
And sir, for constant member functions, can we write constant in front of the function header? Like const void set int a.
I have to check it, but I think yes, 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 you can do it.
We can do it.
Yes.
Sir, I want, sir,
So
I want,
wait.
sir,
So
I want to
so
know.
wait.
Okay, okay.
Yes, you can do it. Yes.
Okay, sir. Sir, I want to ask one question.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, in a class, if we make any member function as constant,
Mm-hmm.
then that member function cannot change the any data member of a class. And sir, we do that in a class. Sir, if we define a normal function, like then and set it to constant, then what is the behavior of that function? Which is not a
See,
member of a class, we define normal function.
so see this thing you can take as an example. So generally in these kind of things, suppose,
Sir,
uh,
but this function is a member of a class. Sir, I am asking the function which is not a member of a class and is defined outside a class,
mhm,
and we set it to constant, then what is the behavior of that function?
uh, like say you are saying
Yes,
you are
sir.
defined.
Like in any program, we
Wait.
define function header and function definition. We write any function. In program, we write any
Wait,
function
wait, wait,
normally. Sir, normally we write any
wait,
function.
wait, wait. I'm telling right.
Okay, sir.
You check the video. So you are defining something like. Suppose int x,
Yes, sir.
and you are saying you want to use const.
Yes, sir. So, sir, what is the behavior of this function in this
So
case?
you cannot modify any variables inside it. You can just only do this kind of stuffs.
Sir, this can also be done by making a parameter as const.
Yes, but that has different thing, right? So you this means you cannot do something like int x y equals to uh, x plus 10, this kind of stupidity inside it.
Sir, this means we cannot change the parameters of a function.
Yes.
So, sir, instead of doing this, can we simply write const keyword in parameters in front of parameters itself, like const int x, instead of writing const void?
Const, what do you want to write?
Sir, I am asking. We have written const void.
Uh-huh.
In place of this, can we write const int x?
Const
Uh,
int x.
yes, both will be the same thing, na?
Why const
Constant
int x?
text, constant text will make x as a constant so that it cannot be changed inside a function.
I'm not saying x cannot be changed. I am saying inside any other variable cannot be changed. Suppose you cannot define something like this int y equals to x plus 10.
Sir, why not? Sir, here x is not changing. X is only reading.
X
We are
is
only reading
still
x.
this kind of value of y, these kind of things cannot be done. So these are specific reason for doing this. So
Sir, why? Sir, why is not a member of this function?
yes,
Why
it
we
is
are?
still you cannot do it. There are reasons for doing this. The reason is this kind of when someone the architect who made C plus plus, his vision was for this thing is right. His or her vision for this thing was right that these kind of functions will be used just for some kind of return statement or some kind of statements where no change cannot be made. So that's the reason this const function was introduced.
So, sir, const function. Sir, why is not a parameter of this
Yes,
function?
still also you cannot define it. That is the reason it has been made. So I have discussed it. You can
Okay.
check it in week 2 something, like I have
Sir,
done.
in week two, constant functions concept is not there.
Like it is there. I have used it. If you check, it was
No,
there.
sir. Sir, constant variables function is there, but not constant functions.
2 or 3, anyone, like I have used it. So I don't remember which week, but it was there.
Okay, sir. I will check.
Okay. Okay, so let's come to this question. So this is again comes the namespace. So so we have two. So we have a class student inside a namespace name. Okay. So now we have to like create it in such a way that like we have to uh, like fill in the blanks here such that this code prints 5. So basically what is s? So s has to be a object of student. S has to be an object of student. So how to create the object of student in this case? So you have 4 options. So is this correct? So let's jump one by one and check like is this valid or not. First is name colon student is 5. This is correct. because we are trying to create uh, we cannot directly access student here because it is inside the namespace name. So we are using namespace name student and creating the object name student s5. Is this allowed? No. Simple reason is it is inside a namespace and we have to access it through a namespace, so it is not allowed. This is not the way to access namespace, so this is also not allowed. So let's come to this one. So the problem here is we have used this one before, like using statement e1 e e1 x. We have used this, but you see s is not a thing which is inside the namespace, right? Student is something which is inside the namespace. So as a result, uh, yeah, like Shubham, you need to, if you want to say anything, you can just open your mic and say. So this one will also not work because s is not inside this namespace. We have to declare the object s. So it will be name colon colon student s5. So if you have any doubt regarding this, you can ask.
Sir, when we use the using keyword, then it means we will be searching inside the namespace.
Yes, correct. That is the
Okay,
correct
sir.
concept. So when you are
And
using,
the
when you are
and when we use,
when you use the scope resolution operator, you are saying that I am using that.
okay, sir.
Okay, so let's come to this one. So here you have a class point. It has two private members x and y. This is the constructor. Now this is a function, like operator overloading function. And we are declaring an object point 2 comma 5, and we are trying to print that object. So now let's like what will be the thing that has to be pointed here. So let's come to each of the options one by one, and let's check which one is correct and which one is wrong. So let's come to the first one, point operator, like this, and it has taken a ostream object and point. Now, so what is the problem with this one? So is this one correct or wrong? The thing is, if you see, in this case, if you place it here, it is not possible that we can define it here, because in that case we have to put a scope resolution operator regarding it. So like here. So the thing is clear from this one is that it is not a member function of this class point. So this is not a member function of point. So what are the other options to do an operator overloading? Obviously, friend function. So the correct option is option B. So we will define it as friend, and then we will do it outside of it. And there is another reason for doing it, to use friend function, because you see this operator is basically,
Hello.
yes,
Sir, what is the need of defining operator function as a friend function? We can simply define it in a class and it can access private members X and Y.
wait, let me come to it. Why friend function? So suppose we have a point p1 comma p2. So when you are
Sir,
doing,
the questions you are discussing, the due date for this assignment has already been passed.
yes, I said
Okay,
this is
okay.
week 4. Like this is the schedule we have. Like next week 5. So if you see, the first operator in this case is a O stream, and the second operator in this case is of type point. Now if you have seen the concept of like, let's come to suppose this one point, let me give you one easier example to understand this thing. Point p1 p2, suppose uh, I need to do this sum, p2 equals to p1 plus uh, p2 equals to p1 plus 0.5. So this will gets translated to, if we do it as a function inside class, this will get translated to operator plus p1 dot operator plus 0.5. Okay, so you understand this one to this, you need to understand first to understand why we are using this as a friend function. So p2 equals to p1 plus 0.5. So basically this will get converted to this one when we are doing an operator overloading. p2 equals to p1 dot operator plus 0.5. Okay, now suppose we want to do this calculation. p2 equals to 0.5 plus p1. Will it be possible to do convert it like this? Anyone?
No, sir.
No. The reason is here this is a int type and this is point type. So this will get converted to basically p2 is equal to some I don't know what it will be, 0.5 dot operator plus p1. So this conversion is not possible if we use member function. So this is a criteria where we need to use a friend function where first operator will be int type and the second operator will be point type. And the similar concept arises here. See here, cout is the first operator and the second operator is p1. Like operand, sorry, let me correct myself, it is operand. So we need to define it as a friend function. So first object, like operand will be ostream and the second operand will be of type point, and this will return a point type object. This is the reason friend function is being used. So this is the prime utility for using friend function. Okay, this is a very like interesting thing. Like why not use this kind of statement, and why use friend function. So this is like everything we have covered inside operator overloading concept. So let's come to the next one. So you have been given a class A. It has a static variable int A, and it has a get statement which is basically returning like the value of A. Now we are defining A here. Now we have another class B. It has its own constructor. Now we are printing and we are accessing A here and accessing again A here and here. Now this is private, right? Now how can we use the private of A in this another class B? How is this possible? So we are declaring our variable as 5. Then we are printing it using this print option. So it will print 5 and 15. Now how is this possible that class B is able to access private members of class A. Though, so I have already discussed previously. Uh, so it is using something called friend function. So in this case, it will not be friend function. So friend class. So we will use this one. So it will be friend class B. So what is friend class? So friend class is the thing with friend class. The concept is similar to friend function. So what happened in friend function? So when we defined a function as friend inside a class, suppose we have class A and inside we have defined a function, let's say test as friend. So what will happen? Test will be able to access all private members of A. Similarly, when we defined, suppose a class B as friend of A, so what happened in that case? The thing is same. It means class B will be able to access all private members of A. So that is the reason we have to define friend as class B, this line 1 as in the line 1 as friend class B, and also we have to do a forward declaration here of class B so that it doesn't give a compilation error. Clear regarding this friend class? Okay, so let's come to the next one. So you have this code. So you have to fill in the blanks in line 1, line 2 and line 3 position, such that like we have some input values. Suppose you give an input of 4 and 5, in this case A and B, the output becomes 44, and if you give an input value of 5 and 10, output becomes 55. So this thing you can see, so you have a database class. We are creating a member function, like a pointer inside this class. Then we are writing a variable inside it, where we are basically creating a new object of it, and it gets returned. So when this function is called, this database.createINS, it basically returns a pointer to a object of database class, pointer to a object of database class. Also see, so if only INS is uh, only if INS is like here value of INS has been declared as null or zero. So basically, so this is the first clue where we are defining the value of database of INS equals to 0 outside of the class. So definitely this is a static static variable, right? Now so if this is static, and here we are returning the value of we are accessing INS, so definitely this has to be also of like we are returning INS. INS is basically of type database INST, so this has to also be static, because only a static variable can static function, member function, can access the static variable. So this will be static INS type. And next we have to like so get INS. Next is database is done. Now next is get INS. What is this get INS? Oh, this is the get INS. It returns uh, this. So whatever we are defining it as A, it gets stored here, and it gets returned when you are doing get INS, cs.get INS. So in this case we are giving A. So I new database I, so it will print, this one will print 5. Then when we are giving fun B, so basically we are sending uh, 10 like 10 here. So here we need to again do something such that S prints 5. Yeah, so it will again be database create INS I, and it will print 5. So why it will print 5? Because here we are not creating a new object again, since INS is already been created, since this is not null anymore after we did it the first time operation. So this value of ID will not get updated, so whatever we sent here, value will remain same, so it will remain 55. So what is this class called? So this class is basically called singleton class. So what are why there is this concept of singleton class in the literature. So singleton class, the main feature of singleton class is only one object of this class is created. So it will be initialized only once in the program. So if you see this code, so so if you see this code here, we are creating the object for the first time. See the so the pointer here is stored as null. Here we are sending the value of a, that is we are sending it as 5. 5 is sent here, and since the initially it is null, this object is created for the first time and it gets stored here in the ins, and the value of the object is created using 5. So 5 is sent here, and the value of id, so this is stored as 5. So the only once, only here the object is created, that too when ins is 0. In the next instance, when you are coming here, like when we are calling the fun, and when we are again doing the create ins job, in that instance, see, it will return the previous one, since this value is not, this ins value is not null anymore, so it will not get created in the second instance. So once that is, or it is not even overwritten, so the previous value is only stored again. So only 5 is only sent here again, and 5 is only stored here, and it is not updated by b, that is it is not updated by this 10. So it will print again only when we call this get ins thing, it will print only 5 only. So that shows the feature that the object when which is created only once, it is not updated always. So why is singleton class necessary, like why this feature has been present in C++. So this specifically, one of the usage of singleton class is counter. So in computer architecture, there are lots of counters are used for counting clock cycles and everything. So these kind of concepts are quite necessary in those kind of uh, requirement is there, so that only one object of the class is always maintained throughout the program. So that's the reason singleton class concept is present in C++. If you have any doubt regarding singleton class, you can ask. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So here is a problem that is given here. So you have you have uh, a class amount here. You have a class amount here. You have a class integer here, a class interest here, and you have something called double amount calculate here. So it is doing some kind of interest calculation, double calculate. It has some kind of calculate options. It has option to print this primary amount p. It has an amount AMT which has been already declared as 0. We are giving it to we are taking as input two variables. So we check what are the variable here. 10,000 and 5 was 1000 and 5 are taken, and the output will be 1050. 1050. So we are creating total amount I. So this total amount, we are filling this total amount as with I, that is primary amount will become 1000, and then we are using an interest in slash j. So we are this value will become 5, this interest amount, and then we are calculating m dot calculate. So that is, we are calling this function which is here. So, and it is accessing it has something as integer I, and it is accessing this I dot in. So that is class total amount. So this function is accessing private member of interest. So it is accessing private member of interest. So first line 1, what has to be defined as line 1? So you see, we are declared already interest here, like interest object type we have declared here, and then we are defining the class interest. So we need to do for correct compilation, we need to do a forward declaration of interest. So we will write here class interest. Next what we will do? Next what we will do is like in line 2, you check like we discussed here. See, calculate the total amount, and its member function calculate, that is public member function, is able to access private member of interest class. So it has to be a friend function. So we will write yes, friend class total amount. So when we define it as friend function, friend class, uh, we will be able to access this total amount. This calculate function will able to access uh, this like interest i's private member. Also, another concept is, so we are here finding out that friend function is necessary, like sorry, friend class is necessary to access private member of interest class. Now we can also like shorten the scope of this friendship access. So in this case we are giving, in this case we are giving total control of interest to total amount. We can shorten the control also. In that case, let's say we only want to give this friend opportunity only to this calculate function. This can also be done. To do it, we have to write friend double total amount colon colon calculate interest ampersand I. So this actually localizes the uses of interest class in the total amount. So while previously it gave the control to entire total amount class, now only calculate function of total amount, calculate function of total amount class is able to access private members of interest class. So that is that's a way we in which we can reduce the scope of this friend access, because you see friend is a very powerful tool, because it uh, it subsidizes that encapsulation function that is the standard of an object-oriented programming concept. The private, it doesn't care about the private and public member function. So it is a very powerful tool. We don't want to give access to the whole class. We only want to give access to only some particular functions of the class. So in that case, this is very important security feature. So if you have any doubt regarding this friend function thing, you can ask. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So we have uh, uh, like a class position, and it has two objects, like two like private members, x and y, and this is the constructor. Now next we have uh, like we have some like blanks we need to fill up, and this is the print function. So what does the main do? Main takes in four four variables as input: x1, x2, x1, x2, y1, y2 as input, and it is defining 3 points: x1, y1, p1, p2, p3. p1 is x1, y1, p2 is x2, y2, p3 is 0, 0. Now it is calculating p3 as p1 minus p2. So basically this is a, so we are doing subtraction over user defined objects. So to do this we need obviously operator overloading, correct? So which operator we are overloading here? Minus operator. So this has to be, and also see we are returning, we have to return a, a pointer, like like a object of position class. So basically it will be in this case position operator minus. So basically this translates to p3 equals to p1 dot operator minus p2. So this will be position operator minus the first one. Now the second one, third one, we are basically subtracting it. So it will be, in this case it will be p dot x equals to p1 dot x, sorry, so since this is the concept here is p3 equals to p1 dot operator minus p2, so it will be x minus, because p1 is the object that is calling it, so x minus p2 dot x, and p dot y equals to y minus p2 dot y. So that will suffice this code. So these were the input. So here we so the main feature of this program was how to overload an operator for user defined data type. So uh, so that is the main crux of this question, like how to use operator overloading for in to solve this program. With that we come to the end of this, like all the problems that I have. So if you have any doubt regarding any question, you can ask, or any concept regarding this week force topic, this static versus non-static friend functions, operator overloading and namespace. Any doubt you have regarding this, you can ask, or if you want me to repeat any problem, you can ask. So let me revise all of them again one by one. So we discussed few of the main crust we discussed was like uh, how static members are declared and used, uh, like usage of static member functions. This was one of the problems. So mm, so this was one of the problem, like so why when you to use static like member function. Next, we also did a comprehensive, like lots of examples of using friend function for overloading and why to use it. Another about friend class and its usage. We used operator overloading uh, via member functions, and also using friend functions, and also discussed what is the difference when to use member function and when to use friend function. We saw that whenever we used to think like use uh, problems like C out A, but the first operator is not user defined type, rather a system type, we need to use friend function. And we can use member functions when you are doing things like d equals to d plus 4, where d is suppose of type date or something. So in that case you can use a member function to do it. So we discussed that. We also discussed about namespaces and when to use what kind of access specifier for namespaces, when to use using, and when not to. So these are the things we did. uh, this was one of the question on static variables. This was another question where we understood when to use the friend function and when like in which case to use the friend function and which case to use the operator over like member function for operator overloading. In this case, we understood how to use the namespace and when to use which one uses local variable, which one uses global variable, and which one uses a namespace variable. This one we used like how to use the static for accessing the static, like when to use the static member function for accessing static variable. Then here again we learned the concept like when to use the how to use the namespace to define a variable, etc. In this code we used like when we have a constant class, how to break the principle of constant class to set a variable to set when we have a constant object of a class, how to break it so that we can set the values inside it. So we used int this term of mutable, like this variable instant called mutable, where we saw that if you define a object as mutable define a data type as mutable, so irrespective whether it is in a constant class object, we can change it. Next again we had a look at namespace and how to use them. Next again we looked at friend function and when to use the friend function for operator overloading, and why to use mainly for cout case, why to use operator overloading using via friend function. Next we learned the concept of friend class and how when we are using friend, how we are able to access the static like the private member functions of another class when you are using friend, and how this bypasses the concept of encapsulation. Next we looked at what is singleton class and why do we use singleton class for like what is the uses of singleton class in oops, and why singleton class is required, like how it is implemented. That is another thing we looked through this problem. This one again we learned the concept of friend class and why and also the concept that we can only allow a certain function as only friend from another class, so how it reduces the uh, like the scope to access the member functions of another class. Like when you are using a member function as friend, only that member function can access the private member of the friend class instead of using the total class as friend. So that is another thing we looked at. And last we again looked at operator overloading and how to use it. So that is the end of today's class. Thank you for joining. So we'll meet again next week. If you have any doubt, you can ask or you can leave.